right, slide this a little closer. Ooh, jeez. Pull my computer totally off. Okay. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sensitive Artists Sunday, episode 3. It's getting actual content on this channel, which is amazing. So thank you for joining me live, or if you are watching later, appreciate that. Say hello in the comments if you're in the chat, or just drop a like, subscribe if you want to. This is just an open platform to talk about something that's been on my mind, and then I'll open it up to whatever you guys want to talk about. If you've watched the first 2 episodes, you know I'm prone to rambling, so I've created notes in my little journal, which is wonderful and hilarious and true. So I will attempt to keep more on track this time. First, we'll start, as we always do, with breath. Just kind of drop into the moment, drop into the fact that it is another week over and a new one just beginning, which is always a fun or harrowing time, depending on how your week has been going, I guess. I did want to talk about the space a little bit. If you've watched the first few, you know that the sort of aesthetic is changing. Things are moving around. Normally, I'm not a big fan of the A word, but I feel like because I didn't actually go out and buy this stuff for the show, it's more of a redecorating than anything else. So it'll probably continue to change. I already know that this is empty. That's terrible. I need something there for sure. So just kind of wanted to talk about that. But yeah, this is all my stuff that has been in other places, and I thought it would look nice on camera, and I think it does. So that being said, let's get into the subject that I've been kind of thinking about this week. If you've read the title, you know it's a Latin subject, I guess is what you call it. And before I go into what it means, I'll explain the origin, because that'll kind of lead into what it means. So if you follow my work, you know I'm working on book 4 in the Death by Misadventure series, entitled Death in the Shadows. The way I write, again, if you know me, you know this already, so just just sort of ignore it. But I'm a pantser, and that means that I don't work with much of an outline, particularly when it comes to the themes that I'm hoping to talk about in my writing. I typically start with the character interactions and a subject or a plot point, like an origin point of a story, and then it just kind of goes from there. And I figure out the theme as I'm working. And this is one of the ones that a lot of times they smack me in the face and surprise me, and I don't realize, oh, that's what I want to say with this book. And this was one of those times. It ends up that my books tend to say a lot of different things, like most books have more than one theme. But this one was really surprising, and the more I think about it, the more powerful it is to me that it's come through this way. So, like I said, background, the story follows a investigation of a secret world of magic, a secret sect of magic, shadow magic. Fairly popular thing that's in fiction right now. So I'm not going to go into explain what it is. If you know, you know. And if you don't, read the book. So one of our heroes is investigating a group of these shadowmancers who seem a little shady. And he and one of his allies goes up to investigate their sort of coven in northern Nevada in a town called Gerlach, which is actually, fun fact, known as the darkest town in America. So kind of fun there. And they're snooping around their headquarters, or what was their headquarters. The sect is gone now. They don't know what happened to it when they're looking around, but the building in which they operated is still there. And they're looking around, and on one of the walls they see, some scrawling, some writings, And they see this phrase, Magnitudo, Omnium. And they look it up. And of course, like anything in Latin, it can mean a couple of different things. But the interpretation they go with is greatness over all. It can also be greatness above all, which would technically be Magnitudo superat omnium. But it's more or less the same thing. So they make the comment at the time that, like, oh, that's not really something I would expect, sort of this shady, no pun intended, group to embrace. It's not really a tenet. I wouldn't think that they would really care about that. And what you come to find out is, this phrase, this sort of kind of lofty, honorable ideal, what it really means. And this is spoiler territory. So if you plan to read the book, skip a little bit, or, just listen and then forget it because the book doesn't come out for several months. August 18th, by the way. What it means is that this group was so interested in maximizing their abilities, their shadow powers, to bring their powers to their ultimate expression at the sacrifice of absolutely everything else, at the sacrifice of themselves, their own sort of autonomy, and certainly the safety and autonomy of others as well. So I knew that was what the group kind of was, but it wasn't until I wrote it down that way where I was like, oh, that's something really interesting. And it's interesting to me for a couple of reasons. One, I think I'll go small and then I'll go macro. As an artist, I think a lot of us, and really any pursuit, if in the sciences or in whatever, there is this idea of pursuing greatness. Any creative outlet where you're making something that you're putting into the world. This could be even something like, a business owner, a founder of some kind. Certainly inventors, certainly researchers doing critical work on vaccines and cures and things like that. There is this idea in the back of your head of like legacy and sort of this immortality that you achieve by doing something truly great. And I think the difference for creatives is that if I was to, I'm trying to do something that I put out there and, the byproduct of it would be that I would achieve greatness from whatever impact my work had on society. And when you're talking about science and medical stuff, that's very obvious. And to I would say to a lesser extent, anything in the business and economics standing. But there's also, you have to be careful because you can easily get pulled into this idea of being great, like pursuing greatness for its own sake, as is the case of these shadowmancers in the book. They're not trying to do great things. They are trying to do things that will make them great, which is actually more destructive than anything else. And I think that's where things can really, you can get into trouble. And there's, another great quote, maybe the greatest quote. And I don't know who said it, and I meant to look it up. You know what? Just bear with me because I'm going to look it up right now. The quote is, I'm sure you've heard of it, is some men are born great and some have greatness thrust upon them. Real quick, I'm going to guess, put your guess in the comments if you see this. I'm going to guess it's like someone super shitty, like Henry Ford or something like that. Oh, nope, it's not. It is Shakespeare. Of course it's Shakespeare. why would I even guess it's anything else? Wow, that's surprising. I thought it was going to be some American capitalist. Crazy. It's from 12th Night. It's just 3 ways people can achieve greatness: by being born into greatness, by working to achieve it, or by having it unexpectedly thrust upon them. Okay, well, I know it's co-opted in our American society by sort of that Henry Ford-esque group of folks. Take that how you will. And I think that to an extent kind of epitomizes like the danger of greatness. It's, this idea that like you can be great, you're a great person, you can sort of be forced into greatness. Those two things are like, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be born great? How is anyone born great? Like, we're all just born people. Nobody is inherently great. It's kind of, when you really break it down, that quote doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think some people do believe that. And like I said, I think there's a very clear group of people in this country that believe in the born great part of it. And I think the issues with believing that are particularly obvious, because if you believe, this is the entitlement thing, is like, if you believe that you are born for greatness and you're destined for greatness, it means that anything you do, it's kind of like that, oh God, this is going to be a super weird episode. But it's kind of like, if you're a good Christian, anything you do is good because you're Christian, as opposed to you need to do good things in order to be good. And it's kind of that sort of thing where it's like, anything I do is great because I was born great. Therefore, I can't do anything not great. But obviously that doesn't make any sense. Like, functionally, that's ridiculous. So you get into this situation of people feeling entitled and then frustrated and then angry and then just kind of unable to process the fact that maybe everything I knew and everything I was brought up to believe is a total lie. And now what? And rejecting that because that's a very normal kind of panic response, and just going completely the other way. Not to call anybody out, except I'm definitely calling people out. I mean, honestly, we have, there's a whole part of our country right now, not even a whole part, like, we are being run by a group who, on their face, their whole goal is greatness, and they don't care how it gets there. Whether or not, we can argue about, we can't argue, because I'm not going to argue about that. It's not really arguing. It's just screaming at each other and not listening. And I have a 3-year-old for that. So if I want to go do that, I'll go do that with him, and arguably be more effective, honestly. But, like, to have come up, this is what's cool about writing, and writing, particularly why I like to write the way I write, is because, this was a scene I wrote, not really sure what was going. The scene was, they need to explore this group. They need to meet with someone who can talk to them more about this group. They need to find answers. Mystery, they're investigating. And then to have this come up and to have it spiral up into all of these thoughts that I'm talking to you about. That's just a fun thing that I enjoy about my writing. Even when things are tough, and this series is, as I've said, this series is ending not because I want to end it, but because I kind of need to, so I can focus on honestly things that'll hopefully take off a little bit more and expand my profile, so I can keep writing, but that's, again, neither here nor there. But even when, you're in a situation like that, where it's like, oh, this is the last book, I don't even know if anyone's going to read it, because the series is kind of tiny and seems to be hit more with a niche audience as opposed to like a mass audience. it's still fun to find that stuff and to, be like, well, maybe if anyone does read it, they'll respond to this, and that'll be good. And then also, I have that, and it's like, oh, well, I can, this is something that resonates with me. I can be more intentional about my next work potentially, which is the plan actually. I'm not talking about my next work too much yet, but it's going to be pretty fun. I'm very excited about it. No release dates, no titles, no nothing yet, but it's going to be good. So yeah, this is a lot. This is a big topic. But I think what this all comes down to for me in terms of as an artist, as a person, as a human being with eyes and ears and critical thinking, is just that when you're talking about greatness in any venue in the world, it should never be taken as I'm great, therefore anything I do is great, and screw the rest of you. That's obviously a good place to start, to just kind of get rid of that. And two, it should never be I'm doing this to achieve greatness. If anything, do what you're going to do, and your greatness or not greatness ultimately you can have your own feelings about it, but ultimately whether or not you've achieved greatness is going to be decided by people outside yourself, likely people that are not even born yet. And that can be very frustrating. You cannot force greatness. You can believe in what you're doing. You can believe that the work you do is great. But greatness is always thrust upon you by other people. There's no such thing as being born great. It's just not true. Shakespeare was wrong on that. Sorry, Willie. You can't win them all. So yeah, that's very heavy for a Sunday. I guess I did kind of know it was going to go there, but whatever. Please, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. And please, if you do watch this and you enjoy it, please share with your friends. Let them know to subscribe. It's still a very small channel, still building up this community from teeny tiny. So I would love to hear thoughts from people who find this sort of topic interesting. And anything that, you might be struggling with in terms of how your work is going. And this one really is for everybody. I mean, it's anyone in any creative field, whether it's artistic or no. If you're putting something out there, you obviously want it to have some sort of impact. I think art, it's harder to have an impact than something, clearly beneficial, like a cure for a disease. That's obviously going to have some sort of repercussion, some sort of ripple effect in the world. So yes, please reach out to me. Please comment, say hi. You can always find me on my website at sgtosh.com. That's where you can get the new book that I'm working on, Death in the Shadows. Again, comes out August 19th. If you want to read it, you're going to have to read the first 3 in the series. They all kind of have different themes, kind of along these lines. Maybe not quite as solid as this one, but still pretty good, I think. First one won a couple awards, if that makes any difference. Greatness. Anyway, I hope you all have a great Sunday. I hope you all have a great week. Next week, we will be, it'll be May the 4th. So we will be talking about, maybe appropriately enough, A New Hope and the role that hope plays in artistic and creative endeavors, both good and bad. So I hope you guys will join me for that. Again, have a great Sunday, great final hours of your weekend. I wish you the best this week, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.